Hey, what's up, DIYers? Mike Boards with the Mike Boards channel. Thank you for watching. Hey, we're talking boats today. In today's video, we are going to replace the alternator on a 3.0 liter Mercruiser inboard / GM engine. Let's get started. We made our way to the garage, and inside our 89 glass port, we have a 3.0 liter Mercruiser or GM engine or inboard. Step number one, no ifs, ands, buts about it. Let's cut all electrical power to the system for safety purposes, both negative and positive. We will start with the negative. Again, starting with the negative. Followed by the positive. And the large positive cable is on top. I'm going to re-secure each of the nuts. Making our way port side of the engine, coming down to the alternator and DIYers. This is the original from 1989. And it does not owe us anything. We've got electrical wiring coming to the very back. We've got an orange wire, which is our larger of the two. And down below, you can see an additional nut and cable or wire. The top is a 7/16, the bottom is a 3/8. Camera in position coming into the 7/16. And you have a nut and a washer. Do not drop them. Next to the 3/8. We have an additional washer up top, I just noticed, and one on the back. Next to a close-up view of the hardware, it went washer, larger nylon washer, the connection point of the orange wire, followed by the compression washer and nut. And the second one we removed had a washer, followed by the connection point in between this washer and the compression washer, and the 3/8 nut. Next, directing our attention to the additional wires, we've got a purple and a red. And DIYers, this is going to be a tedious portion of the project if your setup is like ours. However, don't stress out about it. In most cases, these are bullet connectors, and all you will have to do is ever so carefully pull the connections out of the bullet inserts, and be careful, don't break anything. And if they do not come out, which in our case they will likely not, we will have to cut away this little coating. And unfortunately, ours is not disconnecting, but that's okay. We are not going to do anything up top. We're going to focus on the connection area or points that have the wires feeding directly into the alternator. And what I will do, I will grab a utility knife and ever so carefully cut into the coating. I'm doing my absolute best not to cut myself or any of the wires. Making progress. What I continued to do was cut that coating. I've done both, and cut it basically up to the bullet connection or female insert. And we are going to disconnect the male portions that feed to the alternator. And again, coming down and ever so carefully grabbing a hold of the wire and pulling it out a little bit, getting a grip of the inner portion there. Just like that. And again, bullet connectors. This is the male portion. There we go. That one was tight. Coming up and back, and a quick view of the alternator with the wires disconnected, as you see. And before we loosen up the 1/2-inch tension bolt on the tension brace or bracket there, we are coming down below. We have a 9/16 bolt, and the bolt head is on the front in our case, as you see right there. And on the back side is the 9/16 nut. Coming down below the alternator, I've got a 1/4-inch ratchet on an extension with a 9/16 socket, and that's on the bolt head. And in the back, I've got a 3/8 ratchet, a 9/16 deep socket, and using both ratchets and sockets, I'm going to loosen up that nut from the bolt. As you can see, it's loose. However, we are not going to remove that fully at this point. We will be back to that here shortly. Back up top, directing our attention to the 1/2-inch tension bolt, and as we loosen this up, you will notice two things. The alternator should shift inward as the belt tension weakens, and at that point we can remove the belt from the alternator pulley, and once that belt's removed, we will allow the alternator under its own weight to shift down the tension brace to the low point or far point, and from there, remove the 1/2-inch bolt completely, where the alternator will go all the way down. Looks like I do have to remove this completely. And it has a small washer and a large washer. Do not drop those. Now we'll let the alternator shift inward toward the engine, and at that point the belt should be able to just slide right off, which it does. From here, carefully allow the alternator to come down and rest on the floor. We will now go down below and remove the long bolt and nut. From here, just carefully push the bolt through. And again, you've got a washer on this side, and the alternator itself will fall if you do not support it. And in addition, don't drop any of the inner parts. There's the bolt. Coming up with the alternator. It's heavy, just be careful. And this inner bushing should not fall out. But if it does, don't lose it, because you need it. As you can see, alternator fully removed. I want to point out two things: the sound of the actual alternator as I rotate the pulley and fan area, as well as pointing out any rust or pitting taking place on the pulley itself. That's an issue. However, to the sound, you can hear it. And at high engine output or RPM, this thing was making some unpleasant sounds. And again, now to the pulley itself. If you've got any rust, corrosion, pitting that is going to interfere or damage the belt, you want to scrape that clean during the time you replace your alternator belt, when you are not actually replacing your alternator, or replace the pulley, or in our case, replace the entire alternator as a whole. To the brand new OEM Quicksilver brand or Mercury brand alternator, DIYers, stay away from aftermarket and automotive alternators. Down below in the comments and description will be a link to this Quicksilver or Mercury OEM alternator. A little pricey, but definitely worth the money. Again, stay away from aftermarket. There's the brand new alternator, the wires and bullet connectors, as you see right there. Now to a quick comparison of the old on the left and brand new on the right. DIYers, very important. Make sure you order the exact replacement part as far as volts and amps. And we have a 12 volt 55 amp, as you see, marine. Time to get this brand new one installed. However, first again, a quick comparison of the sound and condition of the pulley. Much nicer. To the table, I do want to show you replacement fittings or bullet connectors. As you see, both female and male. Female being on the left, male being on the right, as well as different sizes. Down below in the comments and description will be links to purchase these if you actually have to install brand new ones. Back to the boat. Again, here's the alternator brace or bracket, and this little inner bushing will slide. Just make sure you kind of push it out to the rear portion. And the bottom bolt insert on the alternator does not have any thread, but the top does. And I'm just going to carefully position this in place, followed by bringing in the large bolt or long bolt. Slide it through, and you will have to carefully pick up the alternator as you push it through. And it's all the way through. Take a step back, coming in with the washer and the nut. Do not cross thread this nut on the thread. And we are not going to tighten it all the way. Just hand tight. And this inner bushing won't actually feed into the alternator, and that's by design. From here, I'm going to carefully shift the alternator up and bring the belt on, and ensuring that the belt is looped properly down below on the Harmonic Balancer pulley, as well as up top on the water pump pulley. From there, bringing the alternator back, I'll bring in the tension bolt Do not cross thread this. Coming to a front view, again, DIYers, make sure your belt is properly lubed on all of your pulleys. Again, we've got the alternator pulley, water pump pulley, and down below, the Harmonic Balancer pulley. And down below in the comments and description will be links to replacement videos where we replace not only the inner water pump as well as the harmonic balancer, because we want all brand new pulleys before we install a brand new belt. However, again, it is not tightened. Coming up top, this tool is a must. Down below in the comments and description will be a link on where to purchase it. Coming in with a pry bar, just ensure you get a good grip of the alternator before you apply outward pressure. And make sure you do not pinch any electrical wiring. And once you get a good grip, shift it out ever so slightly where you've got a 1/4 inch, and then tighten the 1/2 inch bolt. Again, in our case, the serial number service manual calls for a 1/4 inch for the belt to be able to move. No more than that. In addition, DIYers, down below in the comments and description, as well as scrolling above right now, is a link that shows just replacing the alternator belt. And that will include similar steps as we have done so far, as well as the additional steps down below of removing the alternator belt brace and removing the old belt and installing a brand new one. However, again, before we install a brand new belt, we want all brand new pulleys. Next, I got both ratchets and sockets, and I'm going to tighten that bolt and nut in place. And as always, DIYers, do not over tighten it, but you want it snug. Next, coming back to the bullet connectors, as you see, brand new. And red to red, purple to purple. And you want them in there nice and snug until they make the clicking sound. Just like that. Now to the red. I'm going to either cut this away, the outer coating, or loop it back around and apply electrical tape. Making progress, I didn't actually cut away or remove any of the inner insulation or coating. I just tucked the brand new wires inside and wrapped it tight with electrical tape. And from here, we are going to re-secure the 2 remaining wires. And black and orange, and black being the smaller, we're going to secure that to the lower nut or stud. And we've got a washer coming on first, followed by the wire itself, followed by the tension washer, followed by the 3/8 nut. Hand tighten it first, followed by securing it with the 3/8 socket and ratchet. Do not over tighten this, DIYers. That would be terrible if you snapped or broke that threaded stud. Now to the upper wire and connection point, and coming on with the washer, followed by the larger washer, followed by the connection, followed by the tension washer, followed by the 9/16 nut, and tighten it. Followed by securing it. Again, do not over tighten it. Double check everything. And I've got the wires positioned or fed away from the hot block of the engine. And again, before moving on and reapplying power from the battery to the system, again, just double check everything. Coming back down below and again, double checking all of the wires and connection points. Back to the battery, what we did first was re-secure the red cables, followed by the black negative cable. And again, DIYers, double, triple, or quadruple check everything, and if all looks good, which in our case it does, however, we are inside a garage. We're not going to start the engine. If you are in a safe location to start your engine, go ahead and start your engine and monitor the belt and alternator and surrounding parts, as well as the wires and connection points. And take a look at your voltage meter on your dash and ensure that your brand new alternator is charging the battery. In addition, down below in the comments and description will be a link to our playlist, DIYers. We strongly encourage you to check that out. There are several helpful DIY repair videos on this 3.0 liter inboard, as well as the Alpha 1 Gen 1 on the back. We fully rebuilt that. Definitely check those out. Thanks again for watching. However, here is the OEM replacement Quicksilver V-belt. or some may call it the alternator belt, serpentine belt, or drive belt. Down below in the comments and description will be a link to purchase this. DIYers, do not buy aftermarket.